What's up, basketball fans? Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, breaking down all the latest NBA news and rumors and some playoff news and updates. Let's start with Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics because he's going to be out for at least the first round matchup between the Celtics and the 76ers. He is now set to miss 4 weeks with an ankle sprain. Now, for the Boston Celtics, he's been very good this year, kind of getting back to his old Utah self. He started all 52 games that he's played in, but in the Game 1 win over the Philadelphia 76ers, he played in 34 minutes, he scored 12 points, and then at the very end of the game, he gets bounced out with that ankle injury, and it's a huge blow for the Celtics as he is currently their starting small forward or shooting guard, however you want to look at him. Now, compared to the bubble and the regular season, he's taken a little uptick in points per game. 17.3 points per game in the regular season, jumped up to about 19 points. Same with his rebounds at 7.7 as opposed to 6.5 in the regular season. And then the field goal percentage and three-point percentage, pretty similar there. Not as efficient of a shooter right now in the bubble. So either way, you're missing 19 points per game from Gordon Hayward. We're going to have to see how that affects the Celtics, but luckily, they've got some really solid wings. They've got Jason Tatum. They've got Jaylen Brown. They've got Kemba Walker, a point guard who can lead them really well. They've also got a guy who's going to be able to step into the starting five very easily in Marcus Smart. Now, Marcus Smart has played in 60 games this year, and of those 60 games, he started 40 of them. And we all know Marcus Smart as the elite defensive guard that he is. Now, he's not as big as Gordon Hayward, but he's a much better defender and pretty similar shooter than Gordon Hayward as well. He's been averaging 9 points per game and 5 assists, but what Marcus Smart doesn't always show up in the box score. Most of the time, what Marcus Smart does is he gets it done on the defensive end, and he's guarding the best guard or sometimes even the best overall wing on the other team. Now, for the Philadelphia 76ers, whether that's Josh Richardson, maybe it's Tobias Harris, whoever he has to guard, he's going to stick him, and he's going to stick him well. So I want you guys to make your predictions. Now that Gordon Hayward is out, which might change the way this series is going to go, I want you to pick a team. Who is going to win this seven-game series? Is it going to be the Boston Celtics, type C? I think it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers, type 7. It's just that easy. Or what is it? 7? Because it's backwards on the camera? Whatever it is. Make your votes down below in the comment section. Now let's talk about a guy who's actually coming back into the NBA bubble. He left the NBA bubble, Mike Conley that is, for the birth of his son. He went back to Columbus, Ohio, where he's from, got to see his son being born. But reports are that he was taking tests while he was out of town, and they all were negative, and then he came back to the bubble, quarantined, and now he's back, and he's ready to go. Now, he's not going to be ready for Game 2 between the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz, but reports are that he could be back for Game 3 if all goes well with his testing. Now, Mike Conley this season has not been good. The regular season has been ugly. He has not been the same player he was in Memphis. But since he's gotten to the bubble, it's like he's flipped a switch. He's been averaging 18 points per game and 5 assists. He's also shooting better than 37% from 3. And his defense cannot be understated. What he can do for this Utah team has really changed the whole trajectory of this playoff matchup between the Nuggets and him. We saw what Jamal Murra did. He picked apart the Utah Jazz. And that was a large part because there was no Mike Conley. Now, the Utah Jazz are going to have to hold their own in Game 2 without Conley, but you know what? In my opinion, this Denver team is too good anyway. In fact, I've got Denver as my dark horse in the Western Conference. I've said it once on this show. I'm going to say it again. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. All you got to do is scroll down and reply and tell me, who is your dark horse in the Western Conference? Now let's move on to the Eastern Conference with Aaron Gordon and the Orlando Magic. Now the Orlando Magic are the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're playing the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. And they're doing it without one of their best players in Aaron Gordon, who missed the first game with a hamstring injury. Now, he missed the last 4 games inside the NBA bubble leading up to the playoffs with that same exact injury, so there's a chance he could come back in the middle of this series. And so far, it looks like the Magic are going to be able to hold on for a little longer than we expected. They just defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 1, 122-110, without their 4th leading scorer in Aaron Gordon. Now, when he was healthy, although it was a very limited sample size because he was hurt most of the time, Aaron Gordon was scoring 15 points per game, 8.5 rebounds. He was dishing out 3 assists, shooting the ball really, really well, but he wasn't shooting it all that much, so we got to put that three-point percentage into context. So now you got Aaron Gordon out of the lineup. This is who the Magic started against the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, that's right. The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, Wesley Matthews, Kyle Korver, Chris Middleton. lost to this team that started Markelle Fultz, Evan Fournier, James Ennis, Gary Clark, and got 30-pieced by Nikola Vucevic. Now, if Aaron Gordon gets thrown back into that mix with his athletic self and his ability to probably defend a guy like Chris Middleton, maybe they put him on Giannis Antetokounmpo, but if that's what happens, then barbecue chicken for Giannis Antetokounmpo in that situation. But if they can get him back into this mix, based on how that first game went, the Magic might be able to push this 1-7 and potentially move on to the second round. It would be pretty insane to see. So here's a deal I want to tell you guys about with our friends at Fanatics. They've been doing some great t-shirts all playoffs long and all bubble long, and you can get them shipping for free for a limited time. When you go to chatsports.com/NBA shirt, that's NBA shirt, no S on the end, there's no plural. So go ahead, open up that new tab, type it into your URL browser, and whoever you're a fan of, you can find a great t-shirt that's shipping for free today. So don't miss this deal while the playoffs are going on. You're going to want to check them out, chatsports.com/NBA shirt. Now let's talk about another unfortunate injury. Zach Collins of the Portland Trail Blazers. And Zach Collins, coming out of Gonzaga, kind of looked like a bust for a little bit. And then this year, even though he was hurt most of the season, he comes into the bubble and looks really, really strong. But now, because of some ankle inflammation, he's going to miss more time. We know he missed most of the year with that shoulder injury. He didn't get to play a lot of the season. And then he gets healthy, and he starts for the Portland Trail Blazers all throughout the bubble. He brings that pit bull mentality and really is just a dog down low. He's a good lob threat. He's a decent shooter from outside. But now he's set to miss game one. And the Trailblazers, who are already thin at the power forward position, are now having to turn to a rookie to take his starting position. The Blazers and Terry Stotts confirmed that Wenyen Gabriel out of Kentucky is going to be starting in place of the injured Zach Collins. Wenyen Gabriel came over in a trade from the Sacramento Kings this year. He's only started in 2 games for the Trailblazers. He's only played in 19 games for the Trailblazers. And one of those starts wasn't even with Portland. It was with the Sacramento Kings. And this is scary when you're the 8th seed going up against the number 1 seed. And you can already see the downgrades here just in the bubble stats themselves. Wenyen Gabriel scoring 5 less points. He's pulling down 4 less rebounds. Shooting the ball more efficiently, but at a much smaller sample size. He's playing half the minutes that Zach Collins is per game, and he has played in a fourth of the games that Zach Collins played in the bubble. Now, Wenyen Gabriel is a rookie. He's fun. He's energetic. He can get down low and kind of mix it up here and there, but he's no Zach Collins. And he's not a guy you want starting in the playoffs against the best team in the Western Conference in the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's going to suck for the Blazers. I hope they can get Zach Collins back because I feel like if they can at least push this Laker team a little bit further. But what I want you guys to do, scroll down to the comment section right now and let me know. How many wins will the Blazers get against the Los Angeles Lakers in this series? I hate to say it because I want to see this series go 7. I want to see the Lakers get tested in the first round. But I think it's only going 5 games. Especially if Zach Collins is out, I think the Blazers maybe get 1 game on the Los Angeles Lakers. Now let's talk about some of the Game 1 performances from day 1 of the 2020 NBA playoffs. Donovan Mitchell led the way. He had 57 points with the Utah Jazz, 9 rebounds and 7 assists, but it was all for naught in a loss against the Denver Nuggets. Luka Doncic similarly put up these big numbers in a loss to the Los Angeles Clippers, 42 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. Jamal Murray had a big night with 36 points, 9 assists, and 5 boards. Jason Tatum led the way for the Celtics with 32 points, also had 13 rebounds and 3 blocked shots for a guy not known for his defense. And then Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors, 30 points, 11 assists, 2 rebounds in a win over the Brooklyn Nets. I'll tell you what. Right now, and we'll talk about it here in just a minute, the Raptors are looking like the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. Recap those games. The Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz went to overtime. The Nuggets got a 10-point win over the Jazz, 135-125, thanks in large part to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. A long-standing rivalry between the Philadelphia 76ers and Boston Celtics was given new life in the first round as the Celtics won that first game as the 3 seed, winning it 109-101. No Ben Simmons in that series. The 76ers went to Joel Embiid often and early, but it was all for nothing. They still lost that game by 8 points. Now, a pretty fun and scrappy matchup is the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets, but the Raptors took care of business, putting up 134 points on the depleted Brooklyn Nets. However, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot, the story of the bubble, one of the many stories of the bubble, put up 26 points for the Nets. That's an encouraging sign for them going forward. And then finally, the final game of the night that broke Mavs fans' hearts. The Mavs fall to the Clippers 110-118. Luka, most points in a playoff debut by anyone ever with 42 points. Kawhi, though, and Paul George both got it done with 29 and 27. And of course, Kristaps Porzingis was ejected from that game for 2 technical foul calls that will be in question for a long, long time. So I watched all 4 games yesterday. I'm going to watch all the games on day 2. I want to ask you guys this question. What was your favorite game from day 1 of the NBA playoffs? Let me know in the comment section. For me, I had the most fun watching the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Clippers. I did it live on our Mavs channel. I'm going to be watching the Trailblazers and Lakers live on our Lakers channel tonight. So come watch them with me and keep on watching Chat Sports. Hit that notification bell, give this video a like, and I'll see you next time.